This is my second time filming this video because the first time I did that thing where I sat down and I didn't have any notes and there was no structure to it. When I went to edit it, it was a mess and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to do this again. So welcome to the second ever episode of this coffee and cake series. Sounds so lame, but unfortunately I don't have any cake today. I just have coffee in the mug that my best friend got me. This is just the coffee and chats. That's what I should have called it, coffee and chats. Then I wouldn't feel obliged to always have cake. This is obviously about my sexuality, which is something that I've never addressed before on here, and it's never something that I've been overly open with in the past. I wrote a blog post about it over a year ago now, addressing that I didn't want to put a label on it. I'm now at a stage where I know what my sexuality is, and I just feel like sharing it with you guys and talking about my experience. Maybe it will help others identify their own sexuality if they're questioning it, or maybe it will just help those who don't really know much about pansexuality. Yes, I am pansexual. I know there is a lot of debate about whether or not pansexuality is an actual thing. I know people think it's actually just, you're just bisexual. I'm not going to get into that debate, but basically pansexual, that means that you are attracted to pretty much anyone, regardless of their gender and of their sex. A way that I like to think about it is basically there is no gender barrier. It's so open, and it can include male, female, trans, non-binary, which is, when people don't identify as either gender, which again is something that I feel like a lot of people may pick up on and be like, what are you talking about? Of course there's only two genders, which, another conversation for another time. When did I begin to start questioning my sexuality? Let's begin with that. I was in high school and I was probably about 14 when I started kind of questioning whether or not I was in fact straight. This whole idea of girl crushes came around. It tends to be like, there's this, like, say a celebrity of the same sex as you and you're just like in awe of them. You would be like, if I was gay, I would. So I kind of jumped on the bandwagon. I was like, yeah, I got a girl crush on so-and-so. I got a girl crush on Kristen Stewart. After a while though, it started to feel like something more than just what the general idea of a girl crush was. Because me and my friends, one of my best friends at the time, we would kind of openly discuss girl crushes and things like that. But there was like this different meaning behind it for the two of us. As I was getting older and, started thinking about sexuality and relationships and all of that jazz, I naturally started thinking about kissing girls, and then it kind of broadened into an idea of, being with a girl and sleeping with a girl. And to me, the idea never freaked me out. The idea didn't make me want to go running for the hills. It didn't make me feel disgusted. It just kind of, like, I thought of it in the same way as thinking of, kissing a guy or sleeping with a guy. It was just like a thing that happened, and a thing that, I was like, okay, if that happens in the future, cool. So that was when I first kind of thought, okay, maybe there's some kind of gay tendencies in me. When I think about it now, there's definitely been times where I have felt attachment to girls in a way that, I was attached to guys in the same sense, and so sort of like crushes. And then I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, I just really like this girl. She is a great person. Like, either, oh, I want to be her friend, or, if on the odd occasion they were my friends. Now all my friends from my high school days are like going at me, going like, you know, oh, they're a really good friend and I just have so much love for them. Thinking back to it, like, I've got friends now who I absolutely love to my heart's content, but the level of attachment I feel is different to the attachment that I felt to some of my other friends in the past. Whether it was a crush or not is up for debate. Obviously I don't really feel those emotions now towards these friends, so I can't really say for sure, but there was definitely something more there. So for a while, I thought maybe I was bi, and I never really said anything. I think I might have said something to one of my friends once, but then we never really spoke about it again. I don't think I actually probably came out as such. I think I just said, oh yeah, I think I might be. There's a quote by Miley Cyrus that I love and I totally resonate with. She came out as pansexual not that long ago actually, and she did an interview, I can't remember who it was with, but she did an interview talking about it, and she basically said that she didn't feel straight, she didn't feel gay, and you know, for a while that was how I felt. I was like, I can't say I'm straight because I'm not straight. I'm clearly not 100% gay. You know, and then when it came to kind of saying that I was bisexual, that still didn't sit right with me either. It was also around about that time when I discovered that I was actually more sexually attracted to females than I was male. This now comes down to the whole me trying to figure out what I like and what I don't know what men do, but kind of thing, which is something that I'm looking to now begin exploring. It was at that time that I discovered that. You can guess how I discovered. Let's not. And that is still the case right now. So then I left high school, and things like sexuality and sex and relationships were put to the back of my mind, because obviously my mental health kind of took over and I became unwell, and then for a few years my recovery was priority, and those things I just didn't think of. It's only in this past year that it's really kind of came back to the forefront of my mind. So how did I discover that I was pansexual? Last year, May to be exact, I started watching RuPaul's Drag Race. Now you're probably sitting there groaning because you're probably gonna guess where this is gonna go. But I was watching Drag Race and I got to season 6. And who's the first queen that walks in on season 6? Adore Delano. I had never seen a human so beautiful. So like, it was just, no words can describe. Previous seasons I had appreciated some good looking queens. I had previously, like before Adore, my favourite queen was Manila. I thought she was so beautiful. Then I see Adore out of drag, I see Danny, and I'm like, whoa, okay. You are very attractive both in and out of drag. And for the most part, it was either like I would find the actual guy behind the drag queen attractive, or I would like appreciate the attractive drag queen. It was very rarely two, other than Manila, who I liked both, but it wasn't as big as Adore, so I didn't really think anything of it. I was just obsessed with Adore, and I started thinking, like, obviously a drag queen, they're not actually a female, and I think for some people that's very hard to comprehend. I made my ex-boyfriend actually watch Drag Race, and I remember him seeing, I think it was Courtney Act. I don't know if I said that in Australian accent. I think it was Courtney Act, and he couldn't quite like get his head around the fact that this was a male dressed very realistically as a female. Like, he couldn't, you could see that it was like the cogs in his brain. He couldn't like match, like he couldn't make it match, if you know what I mean. He couldn't like comprehend. Well, I always could. And you know, with Adore, I would be like, oh, imagine if Adore kissed me. Imagine if Adore wanted to like came in and was like, let's get freaky with it. And then you would think, well, actually, wait, looks like a girl, but actually underneath is a guy. And that didn't bother me. That didn't freak me out. To me, it made perfect sense. It wasn't that something didn't fit. And then I start to think, well, what if Danny comes in and he's like, never doing drag again. Okay, I would still be attracted to him. What if he came in and was like, I'm going to get a sex change and I'm going to be a doll for the rest of my life? Still be attracted. What if he suddenly decides, I'm not male, I'm not female, free love. Although Danny is big on free love. Danny/Adore. I'd still be attracted to you. I don't care how Danny/Adore would identify. I do not care what freaking genitalia they would have. I don't care. Then I start to think about all the people that I've found attractive in the past, and I'm like, would I care? To me, if I like someone, I like them. And it's not because they have a dick or because they identify as a male. If I like you, it's not because you've got boobs, and it's not because you identify as a female. I like you because you're a cool person. I think you look nice. I kind of looked into this because I kind of knew that pansexuality was kind of this idea that you liked anyone regardless of gender, and I started to look more into it, and the more that I thought about it and the more that research that I did, the more it clicked. Unlike when I thought I was bisexual, that didn't click, but this did. And when I think back to my blog post when I was like, I'm open to, you know, like who I like, no matter who that person is, I basically described being pansexual. I just didn't directly say, because I didn't know and I didn't want to put a label on it, but now look, I'm labeling myself. Yes. So yeah, I'm pansexual. I hope that kind of made sense. I would be really interested to know, if you are pansexual, how you discovered it. I hope maybe this helped you to understand pansexuality a bit more, or it helped you to maybe understand your own sexuality. I think the important thing to remember is, if you are confused about your sexuality, that when you finally figure it out, it will just feel right. And I can't explain it, like, something just clicks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Still don't know how to end these videos.